जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन यमुनतीरवनचारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुनतीरवनचारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुनतीरवनचारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा
Krishna
कृष्णा
Krishna
हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव। निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल। भक्त विघ्ननाश नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय। भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। निताय गौर हरि प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपः कुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिशे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गौ ब्राह्मण हिताय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाद पाश्चात्य देश तारणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपः तमं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। ओम पवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थं गतोऽपि वा यत्स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्ष साभ्याभ्यन्तरं सुचे। श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु श्री विष्णु चेतोदर्पणमर्जनं भवमहाद्भवाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरिव चन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दम्बुदिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वत्मस्थापनं परं विजेते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनं नाम्नामकारि बहुळानि च सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रातिपा नियमिता स्मरणेन काला एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवं ईदृशं इह जानन्यनुरागः तृणादपि सुनिचेनातरुरपि सहिष्णुना अमाननीय मानदेन कीर्तने सदा हरि न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितं वा जगदीशं कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतद्भक्तिरहोत्तकी त्वयि वैनन्दतनुज किङ्करपतितमां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजसितधूलिसदर्शं वचिन्तया नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुधाय गिरा पुलकिरणचितमपकदात् तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमिषेण चक्षुषा प्रवर्षायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दं विरहेण मे अश्लिष्य वा पादरतं पिनस्तु मामादर्शनन्मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा विदहतो लम्पतो मात् प्रणनाथस्तु एव न परा। हरे Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Padma Mataji, Balamani Mataji, Subara Prabhu, Ram Reddy Prabhu, Dandot
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Shri Gopal Prabhuji.
Dandot Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Dandot Pranam Prabhuji.
Mataji, Venala Mataji, Hare Krishna, Santosh Aitya Prabhu, Satyadev Prabhu, Dandot Pranam. Hare Krishna, Raju Prabhuji, Sanjay Prabhuji, Maheshwar Prabhuji, Akinchan Pri Prabhu, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. 1 minute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Sorry, Prabhujan Mataji, there was some call that abruptly came. So, Hare Krishna, Dandot, Sanjay Prabhu, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji, Maheshwar Reddy Prabhu, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna. Sureka Mataji, Revati Mataji, Nirupa Mataji, Dandot Pranam.
Dandot Pranam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prasad Prabhuji, Madhavi Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Shravani Mataji, Hare Krishna. Joining. Sulochana Rani Mataji, Yogesh Prabhu, Dandot Pranam. Padma Mataji, Arvind Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Raghavan Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hema Mataji, thank you for joining. Pawan Prabhuji, Praveen Prabhuji, Puja Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Dandot Pranam Prabhuji.
Shirsha Mataji, Satya Prabhu, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna. Mahendra Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna. Sujata Mataji, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam.
Teja Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Saraswati Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for
Dandot Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam. Sorry Prabhuji.
Oh, no problem. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Shri Giraj Prabhu, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Thank you all for joining for today morning's Bhagavatam reading. Hare Krishna, 1 minute. I'll just. So today, I was thinking we'll get prepared to die. Right? Bhagavatam is about getting prepared to see that final moment, isn't it? You know, it's a very positive scripture. A lot of people think that it's negative, but it's not like that. It's a very. Am I audible? Am I clearly audible? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So
Yes,
there are two inevitable truths that we all know. One is birth and one is death. No matter what religion we follow, no matter what philosophy we follow, but everybody agrees on these two things for sure. Some people argue I'm okay to be deceased. Some people say I'm never old. Some people think that they're always young. So even though disease and old age is also inevitable problem, but undeniably birth and death is certainly a problem, and all the religions accept it. And Srimad Bhagavatam is such a glorious scripture that is preparing us to die, that is preparing us to meet that moment of death. And let me tell you, Prabhupada and Mataji, that that moment is really going to be scary. It's not an ordinary moment. You know, that moment we all have to be better prepared. And it can come in anybody's life at any time. ఎప్పుడైనా చావు ఎవరికైనా రావచ్చు, ఎవరికైనా రావచ్చు, right? Even the deceased person says that I am going to die, and person who is not deceased doesn't think about death, but death is right behind him, right? The other day I was driving my car, and I was going to the farm, and one person in a bike, he was driving beside me. So I'm in the car, he's just beside me. I looked at him, he looked at me, and I'm driving. And I don't know what happened. Suddenly he came towards the car, he hit the car, and he fell down on the road, right in mid of the road. I just put my brakes, and then I went and stopped somewhere else, and I came back. Luckily, he had minimal injuries, but neither did he, nor did I expect that that would happen, right? I don't know why he came towards the car, just banged the car, and he fell down. Luckily, no big vehicle came from behind, right? So he survived. If had there been even one vehicle behind us, behind both of us, that would have gone over him, and I'd have seen him die on the road. And who knows that if I would have, you know, not stopped properly, or I'd have stopped in between, and some other vehicle is coming from behind, it could have crushed me also. So death is right with us, walking with us, as Srimad Bhagavatam says, padam padam yat vipadam natesha. Natesha, meaning at every step there is death in this material world. And death is such a truth, you know, we cannot deny it, but we have to prepare for it, right? So if we are going to die right now, what we are going to remember, what is really in our consciousness, and how do we prepare our consciousness when we have to meet that death is a very important topic, isn't it? We read Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is very nice, but we should remember what we are reading in Bhagavatam, because that is what we should remember at the time of death. Nothing else should come in your mind, not your family, not your body, not your wealth, not your health, not your any other attachment. You know, it is going to come, and we just have to face it. We have to face it, and we have to face it exactly like the way Bhishma Dev faced it, right? So today we are going to discuss how Bhishma Dev prepared himself for that last breath. Just imagine you are on the deathbed, and everybody has come to see you, and you are going to die. You are going to die, right? You have no other option, or rather, you actually want to die. You want to leave your body. You have been waiting for that moment, right? Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has come to see you, and at that point, you're not thinking about, should I be taken to this hospital? Should I be taken to that hospital? Should I be treated? Maybe there is one more chance that I can be alive. I'm telling you, every single one of us is only going to think if there is any treatment available. Accepting that this is the end is not easy. Is not easy. Only the greatest of the souls can do that, where they actually accept it, not because they don't have any other choice. They have a choice, but still they accept it. That okay, this can be the end. Can you think of one more person in Srimad Bhagavatam who accepted death, took it with open hands?
Maharaj.
Bali Chakravarti.
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit, yes, Parikshit Maharaj, yeah. He accepted death. It's going to come. Yes, let me spend the next 7 days and nights. Yeah, anybody else?
Prabhuji, that one, Dadichi or
Dadichi Muni, yes, Dadichi Muni. When Indra went to ask him his spinal cord, spinal cord, he was asking, these bones. He said, "Yeah, I'm going to." Initially, he ridiculed and made fun of Indra, that he's ready to take somebody else's life for his own life. But then later on, he said, "This is a great boon of Narayan, and let me accept this. Let me accept this as service." And he became immediately immersed in Narayana consciousness, Krishna consciousness, and he gave away his body, and the bones were used to kill Vritrasura. Yeah. Anybody else that you can think of? Yeah. Sorry.
Bhishmadev.
Bhishmadev. Yes.
Gajendra Prabhuji. Gajendra.
Katwanga Raj. Yeah, the king Katwanga. As soon as he got to know that this is a Tidhi, and I'm going to accept, what did he do? Immediately meditated on Krishna's lotus feet, and he left his body. Anybody else?
Gajendra Prabhuji.
Prahlad Maharaj.
Gajendra didn't leave his body. Yeah, but he was prepared to leave his body. Yes, you're right, Mataji. He was prepared to leave his body. It's a different thing that Lord Vishnu came and pulled him out.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, somebody else's name?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj also was ready to leave his body at any moment. Any moment. Every time he was put, and think about him, not once, not twice, many times. His own father was trying to kill him, and every time he was made to drink poison, or put between snakes, or thrown from a hill in Simhachalam, or thrown from, elephants crushing him. He was put into fire by his own aunt, Holika. Every time he was prepared to die. Because death for a devotee is an auspicious moment where he will actually go and spend time with his beloved Supreme Lord, right? So the question is, Prabhujan Mataji, I'm very grateful. So nicely, all of you have narrated so many, instances in Bhagavatam, and I'm so happy to see that so many are actually immersed in Bhagavatam. So many examples have come. So naturally, you all have read Bhagavatam, and you all have been touched by those people, great devotees, great individuals who have prepared themselves to die, right? But how many of us are really ready? 26th of April 2022, today, how many are ready to go? Right? So you have time till, so what is the time? Yeah, you have time till it's 7:43 right now. 8:30, we all are going back home, back to Godhead. Depending on that, you can stay in the call or leave the call. It can happen. Are you ready? Ready, Gunnara? And what is in your mind right now? What came to your mind as soon as I told that 8:30 we have to leave? What came to your mind? That is
My
what
kids.
matters. Kids. Mataji is saying, yeah, Siddhi Mata is saying, kids, बच्चे लोग आए, और किसको क्या क्या है? Tomorrow I have to take my father for a treatment to Karnataka. I'm thinking about that. See how foolish I am. Satyadev Prabhu is thinking about his parents, right? I'm also thinking about my father, right? Anybody else? What else you are thinking about? Yeah. What is really, in our heart? How are we preparing ourselves for that moment? Because that moment can come anytime. So let us see and learn from Srila Bhishmadev how to prepare for that moment, right? The prayers, the meditation of Bhishmadev, exactly at the time of, exactly when he says, okay, now I'm going to leave. Just imagine, Provision Matajis, another few minutes, Bhishmadev is going to leave. Just few minutes. Few minutes is going to leave. And at that time, what is he meditating? Okay. I'm just going to read one shloka and then some translations will read. Right? 1 second. Yeah. Yes. The passing away of Bhishmadev. Right? So here, yeah. Let us read one shloka so that we can keep that as a base and we can read the rest of the chapter. Repeat after me. Suta uvacha.
Suta uvacha.
Suta uvacha.
Suta uvacha.
Iti bhita prajadrohat.
Iti bhadrohat.
Bhita prajadrohat.
Iti prajadrohat.
Sarva dharma vivitsaya.
Sarvadharma vivitsaya.
Sarva dharma vivitsaya.
Sarvadharma vivitsaya.
Tato vinassanam ragad. Tato vinassanam ragad. Yatra deva vrato apatat. Yatra deva vrato apatat. Please repeat after me. Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, sorry, Srila Sutta Goswami said, being afraid of having killed
I'm afraid for having killed
so many subjects on the battlefield of Kurukshetra,
So many
subjects on the battlefield of Kurukshetra.
Maharaj Yudhishthira
Yudhishthira
went to the scene of the massacre.
went to the scene of the massacre.
There Bhishma Deva
There Bhishma Deva
was lying on a bed of arrows,
was like
was lying on a bed of arrows,
about to pass away.
about
to pass away.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. This 9th chapter, as it is willed by Lord Shri Krishna, Bhishma Dev will impart instructions to King Yudhishthira on the subject of occupational duties. Bhishma Deva will also offer his prayer, his last prayer to the Lord, on the verge of passing away from this mortal world, and thus become liberated from the bondage of further material engagements. Bhishma Deva was endowed with the power of leaving his material body at will, and his lying down on the bed of arrows was his own choice. This passing away of the great warrior attracted the attention of all the contemporary elites, and all of them assembled there to show their feeling of love, respect, and affection for the great soul. Hare Krishna. So, Vishwadeva is going to leave his body, and greatest of the sages and demigods, everybody have come there and they're assembled. And most importantly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has himself come, right? And he's standing there, right? In 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we hear that so many souls, so many bodies, they're coming into his mouth, going out of his mouth, smashing their bodies against his teeth. And he is the source of, he is the death personified of unlimited living beings. But just imagine that person, that supreme person who is dealing with unlimited beings is very, very attentively standing here near Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma Dev is one of the souls, but he is not one of the ordinary souls. He is most dear soul to Lord Shri Krishna, right? So we are going to discuss. Let us read the translations. Yeah, like this we'll read. It's easy and fast. Please pay attention, Prabhuji. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to read the whole chapter of how Bhishma Dev is passing away, and then we'll meditate on few of the verses. Okay? Are you all ready?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please. Whatever you're doing, stop it. You know, next 10 minutes, if you focus on this, you will be ready for that last minute from today onwards. Okay? Yes. Text number 2. At that time, his brothers followed him on beautiful chariots drawn by first-class horses decorated with gold ornaments. With them were Vyasa and rishis like Dhaumya, the learned priest of the Pandavas, and others. O sage among the Brahmanas, Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, also followed seated on a chariot with Arjuna. Thus, King Yudhishthira appeared very aristocratic, like Kuvera, surrounded by his companions, the Guyakas. Text number 4. Seeing him, Bhishma lying on the ground, like a demigod fallen from the sky, the Pandava king Yudhishthira, along with his brother, along with his younger brothers, and Lord Krishna bowed down before him, just to see the chief of the descendants of King Bharata, Bhishma, all the great souls in the universe, namely the rishis, among us the demigods, brahmanas, and kings, all situated in the quality of goodness, were assembled there. All the sages like Parvata Muni, Narada, Daumya, Vyasa, the incarnation of God, Brihadashva, Bharadwaja, and Parshurama and disciples, Vashishta, Indra, Pradhama, Tirtha, Trita, Gritsa, Madha, Asita, Kakshivan, Gautama, Atri, Kaushika, and Sudarshana were present. And many others like Sukadeva Goswami and other pure souls, purified souls, Kashyapa and Angirasa, Angirasa, and others, all accompanied by their respective disciples, arrived there. With their respective disciples, look at the detail in which Sutta Goswami is explaining that moment. Bhishma Deva, who was the best among the 8 Vasus, received and welcomed all the great and powerful rishis who were assembled there. For he knew perfectly all the righteous principles according to time and place. Lord Shri Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifested his transcendental form by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishma Deva, and since Bhishma Deva knew of his glories, he worshipped him duly. Now, Prabhupada Mataji, can you tell me one more such soul when he was leaving all this assembly of great devotees and Supreme Lord would have been personally present? Can you think of one? Anybody else?
Haridas Thakur Prabhuji.
Yes. Okay, let me make it even more personal. He left his body in 1900s.
Srila Prabhupada.
Srila
Srila
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, yes, Srila Prabhupada. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. How many of you really feel that all these great sages and all the demigods, including Lord Shri Krishna, were present in Vrindavan, in that room when Srila Prabhupada was passing the body, leaving the body?
Yes, Prabhupada.
Yes, of course. There should not be any thought. There should not be even a tinge of doubt whether that was happening or not. Prabhupada was a pure devotee, is a pure devotee, eternally, dear to Lord Shri Krishna. And Prabhupada is writing this, purports to these verses, and he himself left the body in the same way, where he declared that he is leaving. He literally stopped eating, stopped drinking water, and he completely became, silent. And he was translating purports even to the nth moment. And when his body was not in a situation to speak anymore, he kept his calm, and he was just meditating. Without, you will not, if you see the disappearance video of Srila Prabhupada, maybe you can get a glimpse of how Bhishma Dev also passed away, right? As simple as that. In YouTube, it is there. Just see how Prabhupada is. Prabhupada is simply sleeping and, meditating. He's not sleeping. He's just closing his eyes and he's waiting for that moment. And all the devotees are chanting around him. And so all the devatas, so all the great acharyas, munis, and Supreme Personality of Godhead was right present there. And Prabhupada left his body, right? And all his disciples were jumping and crying in separation, and they were chanting his name. And then they took his divine body into the temple in Krishna Balram temple. So whatever you are witnessing here, you have to relate that to Srila Prabhupada also, and try to make this moment of separation of Bhishma Dev very realistic in your heart. We are not just reading it, we are actually feeling it. And you are also going to be in that very place. I'm talking about you. You are going to be in that place, right? you are going to be in that situation where you're leaving your body. And if you're a devotee of Krishna, Krishna will be there, right? And so many other, great devotees will come, and they will say, okay, now it's time to come, leave whatever you're doing. Your job is over here. Let's go back, right? So we should be very hopeful and confident about that situation. We are not discussing theory here. We are discussing absolutely practical, absolutely something that is going to happen. Okay. So, yeah. So where did we read till? Yes, till text number 10, right? So I'll read text number 10 again. No, Projan Matis, please pay attention. These are very important verses and discussion that happens. Vishnu, the prayers will start after a little while. Now it's only his discussion with Pandavas. So text number 10. Lord Shri Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, yet he manifests his transcendental form by his internal potency. This very Lord was sitting before Bhishma Dev, and since Bhishma Dev knew his glories, he worshipped him duly. Text number 11. The son of Maharaj Pandu were sitting silently nearby, overtaken with affection for their dying grandfather. Seeing this, Bhishma Dev congratulated them with feeling. There were tears of ecstasy in his eyes, for he was overwhelmed by love and affection. Bhishma Dev said, "Oh, what a terrible suffering and what terrible injustices you, good soul, suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations, yet you were protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion." This is a very important, explanation, introduction to Pandavas, that Lord Bhishma, Bhishma Dev is telling to all of us, right? Now, I would like to, emphasize on the greatness of, somebody like Yudhishthir Maharaj, right? Why is Bhishma Dev so particularly saying that you went through so much protecting religion, right? Trying to protect the dharma, you went through so much. And so many people have misunderstood and ridiculed Yudhishthir Maharaj also, right? Even though he's the greatest protector of religion, he was so much misunderstood, isn't it? That's exactly what Bhishma Dev is saying, that you went through so much, you souls, just to protect religion, so much you've gone through. Can anybody tell here in what ways general people have misunderstood Yudhishthir Maharaj? In what ways?
Why should he play with Kauravas? So he's addicted to all these kind of addictions.
People think that he's a juari, right? People think that he's somebody who likes to gamble, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
What else? What other ways people misunderstood?
He wants to fight Mahabharat war to become the king of the world.
Yeah, maybe some people think that also. You're right.
He's thought to be foolish, that he always wanted to follow the religion and the religious principles, though it did not favor him.
Yeah,
People think he's foolish.
People think that he's foolish. He should be more tactful, right? Including Krishna. Krishna was also uncomfortable dealing with him sometimes. He never left dharma. Yes. Any other thoughts?
He tells lies about Ashwadhama, right? To kill Ashwadhama.
Yes.
So he's a follower of dharma. So how can he tell lies?
Yes. And Krishna so tactfully kept his vow that he'd also never tell a lie by actually telling him, asking him to speak the truth only. But in the truth, Ashwadhama was not elephant, not a person, but it was elephant. So actually, in practicality, he never lied. He just said the statement as per Krishna. But yes, people do say, general people do say that Yudhishthir, how could Yudhishthir do this? Drona told, actually, his own guru told, Yudhishthir, among you, how could you say, something like that, right? Drona was completely, not Drona, there's one more Acharya who told that, because Drona was killed after hearing that.
Yeah, Kripacharya has.
Kripacharya. No, actually Bhishma. Yes.
Oh,
On the
Bhishma.
deathbed, when they go and meet, and the news is given to Bhishma that today in today's war, Drona is slain. So then Bhishma becomes very upset, and very, very painfully he feels, all the great souls are leaving my kingdom of Hastinapur. And then he asks, how did this happen? Because Bharadwaj Putra Durona cannot be brought down by anybody. It's impossible. It is not possible. Then this is told that Yudhishthir himself goes and confesses that Pitama, I did a wrong thing today. I went and told a lie. And then Bhishma becomes so upset that, how could you do this? How could you lie? You among everybody, I cannot imagine. You cannot do this. You would not have done that, And then, of course, Lord Krishna comes and explains to Bhishma that for implementing dharma, sometimes adharma is also a way that should not be left out. Of course, this is only explained by Lord Krishna, and it is handled by Lord Krishna himself. So, dharmam sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Whatever Krishna does is dharma. So, whatever Yudhishthir did on the instruction of Bhishma was also dharma, right? So one of the things, Provision Mataji, is one of the things that many people comment upon is, why did he even play Dyuta? Right? One of the most important misunderstandings that people carry, that why did he even play Dyuta? What made him, play gambling? Whereas he was representing dharma. And in our 4 regulatory principles, it's very clearly written that we should not gamble. We should not gamble. Can anybody tell? Can anybody think? Why did Yudhishthir gamble?
Prabhuji, it's a Kshatriya dharma also to accept a gambling match when it comes from an opponent party. I think I remember reading it somewhere. Yes. So it's also a dharma only. What he did was dharma only.
Yes.
By accepting the challenge that Duryodhana had thrown at him. So
a Kshatriya should never reject a challenge.
Yes.
Right? That is the reason he said, I will play. Yes. Thanks to TV serials, that at least that is conveyed. Yes, thank you, Vani Mataji. Anybody else?
Prabhuji, that is there in the Bhagavatam, Prabhuji. I don't think a TV serial has given this information out.
Is there in the Bhagavatam?
I'm reading the Bhagavatam now because of the marathon thing, so I read it in the purport.
Yes,
so
one of the reasons is true. TV serial also, I'm not saying all the things shown by TV serial are wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm saying most of them know because of TV serial. You are reading Bhagavatam, so that's a nice thing, Mataji. But many people don't know. Yeah. Thank you, Vani Mataji. Anybody else? Why do you think he gambled?
I think it was also the instructions of Dhritarashtra, so that you come and play, and he was just following what his elders have told.
Yes. So he was following what his elders have told. Yes. But if elders are telling something wrong, why should he even follow? Right? He is Dharmaraj. He knows the levels of dharma. Pitru dharma, Kula dharma, Kshatriya dharma, Adharma, the highest dharma. He knows all types of dharmas. Just because his uncle told, or just because his father told, he considered Dhritarashtra as his father, even though Dhritarashtra never considered Pandavas as his sons. But Yudhishthira considered him his father. So he followed the order. Yes, followed the order of his superiors. But he was intelligent enough to reject that, keeping another argument from Shastra that this need not be followed. Actually, we should not follow. Even if our father, applicable for all of us on this call, if our father says, go and do this, will we do it? We'll not do it. And that's also true. So why did he gamble? See, I'll tell you, Projan Mataji, the Puranas and Itihasas, that's the reason after Vyasadeva wrote the scripture, the entire Vedas, he was not very satisfied, and then Narad Muni came and told, write Bhagavatam. Because the devotional dealings are not coming out, in these pastimes. Right? The devotional dealings are not coming out. People, a lot of general people, when they read when they read Bhagavatam or any of the Puranas, Shiv Puran, Matsya Puran, Kurma Puran, they read the pastimes. But the devotional feelings of devotees, what is happening between them in their heart is not revealed. And that is where Bhagavatam becomes the Amala Puran, the spotless Puran, the highest and the greatest. Actually, what happened, I'll tell you the reason why he gambled. Okay, I'll tell you the reason why he gambled. This is explained by the great acharyas. Do you want to know? How many want to know here?
Yes,
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah? Yes.
Yes.
Hear this out, because devotee doesn't do anything without thinking of the Supreme Lord. Keep this very, very clear in your minds, Prabhuji and Matajis. A devotee will never do anything without keeping Supreme Lord in the center. And that's exactly what Yudhishthira Maharaj did. Yudhishthira Maharaj was doing Ratsur Yajna. And after the Yajna got over, and he was very happy that, all the great sages came, Lord Krishna came, and Agra Puja was done for Krishna, and Shishupala was unfortunately the only unfortunate incident, or the auspicious incident, so to say, is Shishupala got liberated. Right? Krishna, you all remember that instance. So after Shishupala was killed in the assembly, who killed Shishupala? Lord Shri Krishna himself. At that time, it's explained that Vyasa, Vedavyas, walked on to Yudhishthira Maharaj. He just walked to him and he told Yudhishthira Maharaj, when Yudhishthira Maharaj was looking at Shishupala's head on the floor and he was bewildered, he was, my God, this has happened in this assembly. He was affected. Yudhishthira Maharaj, in fact, he was so much affected that as soon as Shishupala died, immediately after that, he performed the he completed the Ratsur Yajna. He performed the king ceremony for his son, Shishupala's son, for Chedidesh. Immediately in that very assembly, he completed that. He was like, I don't want any kingdom from anybody, and I'm very affected by somebody who has left his body here. Let me make his son the king. So he was so renounced and so affected. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was looking at Shishupala's body and the whole bloodshed that, of course, blood did not come, as we discussed many times. At that time, Vyasdev walked on to Yudhishthira Maharaj and told Yudhishthira Maharaj two things. He told Yudhishthira Maharaj, you are going to be an instrument. You are going to be an instrument for the bloodshed of unlimited people on this planet. Lord Krishna is going to use you as an instrument, as a patra, as a medium, as a reason to be kept, to kill crores and unlimited number of people on this planet. And he also told that the responsibility is taken by Lord Shri Krishna. The responsibility will be taken by Supreme Lord himself. It's happening. It's going to happen as per his will, right? So this was a statement that was made. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, in that emotion, he heard what Vyasdev told. Vyasdev told what? You are going to be used as an instrument, as a patra. But you are not going to be responsible. It will be Lord Krishna who will take the responsibility. Responsibility is told in Uttaradhikari. No, not Uttaradhikari. It is in Sanskrit. It is told as I'm forgetting the exact Sanskrit word. The word that Vyasdev used to say that you are an instrument and you are not going to be responsible were very much close to rhyming. They were like similar kind of words, little difference. And actually, Yudhishthira Maharaj understood that statement of Vyasdev that he is going to be responsible for millions and millions of people who are going to be killed. And that prediction is already known to him. Already Yudhishthira Maharaj knows, because it's none other than Vyasdev telling. So as soon as he heard that he is going to be responsible and he is going to be the reason why such a big bloodshed will happen, immediately he took a vow in front of Vyasdev. He took a vow. And unfortunately, at that very moment, in that place, even Duryodhana was there. Duryodhana and Shakuni were there. And many others were also there. Of course, it Ratsuri Yajna arena, but close to him, near to him. And what was the vow he took? He said, from today onwards, whatever my elders will tell, I'm going to follow without any discussion. I'm going to follow without any discussion. Whatever my elders will tell, I'm just going to do it. Now, this vow was heard by Duryodhana. Now, why did he take such a vow? Why did he take such a vow? Is because he wanted to make sure that if Lord Krishna's will is that I am going to be used and I'll be responsible for the death of so many, so I'm going to make sure that this will is fulfilled fast enough, without any obstacle from my side. I don't want to be an obstacle in the implementation of whatever Lord Krishna has planned. And in order for that to happen, as soon as anything comes to me from my elders, I'm immediately going to say yes. Because that will make sure that the events that are supposed to happen will happen sooner and Lord Krishna will be pleased. Are you understanding, Prabhuji and Mataji, why he did that?
Yes.
What vow he took? Yeah? In this vow, it was pure devotion for Krishna, nothing else. How many of us can dare to take such a vow? That anybody who is going to tell, any elder, he comes in my life and he tells me to do something, I'm going to do it because Lord Krishna likes it, or this has to happen. Because Lord Krishna is going to orchestrate. Right there, Lord Krishna is standing. Yudhishthira could have gone and spoken to Lord Krishna saying that, why are you planning to do all this? I heard that you are going to use me as an instrument, or I'm going to be responsible for a big war to happen. Why can't you stop it? No, he didn't say any of that. He heard that from Yasdev and immediately he took a vow. Right there, he took a vow that whatever my elders are going to tell, I'm going to implement. And immediately Lord Krishna smiled. Because Lord Krishna knew what are the next sequence of events, what is going to happen. He knew that. Right? But unfortunately, when great people take great vows, there are some people who also try to take advantage of it. Can you think of any other great personality who took a vow and somebody else took advantage of it?
Dashrath Maharaj.
Dashrath Maharaj, right? So actually, Acharya has explained that we should not do what Dashrath Maharaj did. We should not do what Dashrath Maharaj did. That was not right. He had two dharmas to follow, Pati Dharma and Raja Dharma. He should have chosen Raja Dharma more than Pati Dharma, as a husband's dharma or a king's dharma. Because look at his son, what he did. When the right time came, Lord Ramachandra, he followed Raja Dharma, keeping aside his Pati Dharma, because he felt that is more important. And he sent Mother Sita to Valmiki Ashram, right? He abandoned her. People say that they abandoned her, but he actually sent her. So, in the same way, Yudhishthira Maharaj also should not have taken such a vow. And it was not like Lord Krishna was expecting, but out of pure devotion for Lord Shri Krishna, that whatever is planned should happen, he took that vow. And right after he took that vow, this person, Duryodhana, immediately took advantage of that. What did he do? He went to, of course, after some days, he got insulted in Maya Sabha, all that happened. And then he went back to Hastinapur and he knew what exactly to do. So he went to his father, Daddy, yes, Daddy, I want to talk to you something. And, Dhritarashtra knew that he's going to ask something that is not good. But he said, yes, what do you want? Please call Yudhishthir for a gambling match. Shakuni was the one standing behind and advising, asking Duryodhana to push for it, ask for it. And Dhritarashtra very well knew that if he's going to do that, destruction is going to come. Very clear destruction is going to come. There is no doubt about it. But Dhritarashtra got many warnings in the past also, that he should not treat his sons like that. He should not treat his brother's sons like that. He got many warnings. But Dhritarashtra is Anda Kanun, right? I mean, that fellow will never think right. Can you tell me who else warned Dhritarashtra not to treat his brother's son in a wrong way? Who else warned him?
Vyasadeva himself, Prabhu. Vyasadeva himself has told so many times.
Who else?
Vidura.
Vidura, yes, Vidura, yes. But Vidura was like an advice. Vidura was like an advice.
Bhishma.
Bhishma also told many times, he advised, don't do that. I'm telling you what a warning.
Vyasadeva came and told. Yeah.
Vyasadeva himself came and told.
Vyasadeva himself came and told. Yeah.
There is one more person who came and told much earlier, even when Pandavas were children, when Pandavas were not even, like they were like in their before teens. At that time, one person came and warned Dhritarashtra.
Uddhava Prabhu.
No, not Uddhava. It was Akrura. Akrura was sent by Krishna right after Lord Krishna killed Kamsa. Right after he killed Kamsa, immediately that episode got over, right? So Krishna's Leela, one of that episode got. Now the next episode is Pandavas. The whole Kurukshetra, he has to take care of that. So Lord Krishna sent Akrura to Hastinapur, and he sent this message to Dhritarashtra. And Akrura came and told, hey Dhritarashtra, I am coming from Mathura. And Sri Krishna, who very recently killed Kamsa, who was ruling Mathura, he's killed right now. He sent me a message that you should not treat your brother's sons as your enemies. You should not treat them badly. You should treat them like your sons, or you will also meet the same consequences. A very strong message. Lord Krishna was basically conveying that if you are going to treat Pandavas in a wrong way, you will also be killed like Kamsa, because Kamsa was just now killed. And Akrura was sent with a message saying Kamsa is killed, and message for you is don't treat Pandavas wrongly, right? Now, a strong message, and that was at a time when Pandavas were so small, but still he never understood, or rather he did not want to hear that it is not good for him. He should not treat Pandavas like that. But anyway, Pandavas are, Dhritarashtra is Dhritarashtra, and inevitable had to happen. And at that time, Dhritarashtra said, yes, I will send the message. And as soon as the message for gambling came to Yudhishthir, Yudhishthir immediately closed his eyes and he knew what was happening. Don't you know that Yudhishthir knew what was the result, what was going to happen as a result of the gambling match? He knew that. He very much knew that. And he very much knew that gambling is such a great sin. It takes over your mind, even the mind of an intelligent person. And it tempts him to give away everything. Everything. He knew that. And still he chose to enter the gambling arena. Vidura himself sent a warning saying, don't accept this. Bhishma was not happy him accepting it. Drona was not happy accepting it. But he took it. He made that vow. And he said, yes, I'm going to come. Because the real reason behind that is he took a vow that I'm not going to say no to whatever my elders will tell. And he took a vow to please Krishna, because he wanted whatever Krishna's plan to happen without him obstructing it. Because if he obstructs it, for example, say Yudhishthir would have told, no, I will not go for the gambling match, then Krishna has to plan something else. Somewhere else, something else he has to do to dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhava yuga. To establish the religious principles, Lord Krishna has to plan something else again. And he did not want to be an obstacle. So the lesson that we also learn, Prabhupada and Mataji, out of this is the instances that happen in our life. If we keep Lord Krishna in the center of our life, for everything that is happening, nothing is inauspicious. Nothing can be inauspicious. And we should not think that we are the doer, right? Especially when we start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we are chanting, we should not, when we're chanting, we should not think that Lord Krishna is not in control of our life. We should know that everything that will happen, what we gain, what we lose, everything is auspicious, right? And Lord Krishna is planning it. Just like Yudhishthir Maharaj was so clear in his thought process that yes, now whatever is going to happen, it is going to happen as per the sweet will of Lord Shri Krishna. I am still holding myself responsible for it. See, that's another difference. Just because Lord is doing, I'm doing it for him, so he is no, he didn't pass on the responsibility. In fact, after the gambling match, he did prayaschitta, atonement for what he did, accepting that what he did is wrong. But he accepted it, that punishment for himself, and did not blame Lord Krishna anytime. That Krishna, actually you planned it and I made it happen. He never said that. And that is a greatness of a great soul like Yudhishthir Maharaj. And here in this verse, Bhishma Dev is, when he's saying that, when he's saying that great souls, you're all great souls and you went through so much, right? With tears in his eyes, he was overwhelmed, because whenever Bhishma saw Pandavas, he was so happy, at the same time he was so sad that what a great souls my grandchildren are, right? They're doing everything for Lord Shri Krishna, and he himself is a devotee and he's doing everything for Lord Shri Krishna. And when great souls meet each other, they just exchange love and tears. And so exactly Bhishma is saying, oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustices you good souls suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations, yet you were protected by Brahmanas, God, and religion. At the same time, Bhishma is also saying that you were protected by God because you were establishing God, establishing what God wants, right? Now we'll read. As far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great General Pandu's death, she became a widow with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you were grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions, because of your principled, actions of accepting to go to forest many times, right? She also had to go through. Text 14. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthira? The son of demigod controlled religion. Bhima, the great fighter with a club, the great bowman Arjuna, and his almighty weapon Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. So here, when he says time, he is actually appreciating the greatness of the Lord's plan, right? That nobody can change Lord Krishna's plan. That is how powerful it is. Inevitable time. Krishna says, time I am the destroyer of everything, right? In Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita. Text 16. O king, no one can know the plan of Lord Shri Krishna. Even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered. O best among the descendants of Bharata Yudhishthira, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord. Accepting the inconceivable plan of the Lord, you must follow it. You are now appointed administrative head, and my Lord, you should now take care of those subjects who are now rendered helpless. This Sri Krishna is no other than the inconceivable. See, he's giving introduction to Yudhishthir Maharaj of Sri Krishna, who is right there. This Sri Krishna is no other than the inconceivable, original personality of Godhead. He is the first Narayana, Adi Narayana. See, that so many places there is proof that Narayana is also an expansion of Krishna. He is the first Narayana, Adi Narayana, the supreme enjoyer, right? But he is moving among us, the descendants of King Vrishni, just like one of us, and is bewildering us with his self-created energy. right? O king, Lord Shiva, Narada, the sage among us, the demigods, and Kapila, the incarnation of Godhead, all know very confidentially about his glories through direct contact. O king, that personality whom, out of ignorance only, you thought to be your maternal cousin, your very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, etc., is that very personality of Godhead Krishna. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he is present in everyone's heart. He is equally kind to everyone, and he is free from the false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material iniquity. He is equibalanced. Text 22. Yet, despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I am ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor. He's telling, I am his unflinching servitor. Now he has come to me, right? I have given my life. And Lord Shri Krishna is so Bhakta Vatsala. He will come, and he has come, right? Text 23. The personality of Godhead who appears in the mind of the devotee by attentive devotion and meditation and by chanting of the holy name releases the devotee from the bondage of fruitive activities at the time of his quitting the material body. Beautiful, right? Exactly what Lord Shri Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita, right? At the time of death, Yanti Devan, whatever, whomever you think, you achieve that. Exactly, Anta Kale tu Kalevaram, at the time of death, if you remember me, you're going to come to me. That's exactly what Vishnudev is repeating. Text 24. May my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus face, with eyes as red as the rising sun, is smiling, kindly await me at that moment when I quit this material body. Sutta Goswami said, Yudhishthir Maharaj, after hearing Bhishmadev speak in that appealing tone, asked him in the presence of all great rishis about the essential principles of various religious duties. Now, here in Bhagavatam, much of the explanation is not given. Because Bhagavatam is Amala Puran, pure devotion related only. Only few things of the instructions are given, whereas if you go and read in Mahabharata, it's a whole chapter of instructions that Bhishma Deva has given to Yudhishthir Maharaj, how to be a king. So few things, Bhishma Deva has told here. At Maharaj Yudhishthir's inquiry, Bhishma Deva first defined all the classification of castes and orders of life in order in terms of individual qualifications. Then he systematically in twofold divisions described counter action by detachment and interaction by attachment, right? So he talked about varnashrama dharma basically here, when he says classification of castes and orders of life and terms of individual qualifications, varna and ashrama. Text 27. He then explained by divisions acts of charity, the pragmatic activities of a king, and activities for salvation. And then he described the duties of women and devotees, both briefly and extensively, right? So he was explaining how to be a great ruler by understanding all these people. Text 28. Then he described the occupational duties of different orders and statuses of life, citing instances from history, for he was himself well acquainted with the truth. While Bhishmadev was describing the occupational duties, the sun's course ran into the northern hemisphere, right? The Uttarayana time came. This period is desired by the mystics who die at their will. Thereupon, that man who spoke on different subjects of thousands of meanings and who fought on thousands of battlefields and protected thousands of men, stopped speaking, and being completely freed from all bondage, withdrew his mind from everything else and fixed his wide open eyes upon the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who stood before him four-handed, dressed in yellow garments that glittered and shined. So, Provision Mataji, from here, the prayers will start. So please focus, right? Now he saw the Uttarayana coming, over, and he felt the auspicious moment has come. So in few minutes now, just in few minutes now, Bhishma Dev is going to leave his body, right? So we also, if we get that moment that we have few seconds left and few moments left, and how exactly we should meditate on and what we should meditate on, Bhishma Dev is going to tell. So please take these prayers very much to your heart and hear attentively. Okay. Yeah. By pure meditation, text 31, by pure meditation, looking at Lord Shri Krishna, looking at him, he at once was freed from all material inauspiciousness and was relieved of all bodily pains caused by the arrow wounds. Thus, all the external activities of his senses at once stopped. And he prayed transcendentally to the control of all living beings while quitting his material body. Right? So all the senses also stopped, like no taste, no smell, no touch, no nothing. Right? He's only going to completely focus his soul, his heart on the Supreme Lord. Right? Bhishma Dev said, now here the prayer start. Let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties, in the all-powerful Lord Shri Krishna. He is always self-satisfied, but sometimes, being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending to the material world, although from him only the material world is created. Right? Shri Krishna is the intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles the bluish color of the Tamala tree. His body attracts everyone in the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. May his glittering yellow dress and his lotus face cover the paintings of sandalwood, sandalwood pulp, be the object of my attraction, and may I not desire fruitive results. On the battlefield, where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. And because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go on to Sri Krishna. In obedience to the command of his friend, Lord Sri Krishna entered the arena of battlefield of Kurukshetra between the soldiers of Arjuna and Duryodhana. While there he shortened the lifespan of the opposite party by his merciful glance. This was done simply by his looking at the enemy. Let my mind be fixed upon that Sri Krishna. When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance, upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge, Bhagavad Gita. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. Fulfilling my vow and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up its wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just like a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way. He's meditating, right, on that incident. Text 38. May he, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead who awards salvation, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, he charged me as if angry because of the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. His shield was scattered and his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds. Now Prabhuji and Matajis, just think about it. Here, Bhishma Dev is basically telling that I wounded him and he was filled with blood, and looking at the Drishya, it's not like Bhishma Dev was upset, but Bhishma Dev is describing it as a beautiful moment. How is that possible? How is it possible? You have hurted somebody, blood is flowing. Krishna's entire body is smeared with blood of the wounds made by Bhishma. And still, he's describing that as a wonderful scene that he has seen. Right? So contradictory and so not understandable. And that is the reason here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a commentary on this particular verse. And he says, now this is purely adult, talk, that children may not understand. But here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says when two very much loving couple, a man and a woman, they come together and they kiss and they hug and they kiss, and sometimes when they kiss so tightly that blood comes out from their lips, right? And that blood was the exact feeling that Bhishma Dev was feeling when he was looking at blood on the body of Krishna. Now, just see the way Acharyas, greatest of the Acharya, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, pure devotee, coming from the spiritual world, is explaining this blood equal to the Virya Rasa blood, the Virya Rasa blood equal to the Madhuri Rasa, ecstasy, when when two beloved people, two husband and wife, a man and a woman, they come together and kiss, and some blood comes out, out of that uh, you know uh, the pain that comes out, and that is being explained as a loving exchange, and comparing it to the battlefield kiss, so battlefield, what do you call that, event that is happening, right? So it's such a beautiful explanation, and to this verse, because a lot of people may not understand how come he is speaking, Bhishma Dev is speaking about blood that is flowing from Krishna, and he's looking at it and he's very happy, remembering that on his deathbed, that blood was coming because of my arrows, because the blood was actually the blood of love, not blood of pain, right? Hare Krishna. So text number 39. At the moment of death, let my ultimate attraction to be Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death, just by seeing Krishna in that form of holding a whip and holding the ropes of the horses. People went back to Goloka, right? Uh, Let my mind be fixed upon Lord Shri Krishna, whose motions and smiles of love attracted the damsels of Brajadham, the gopis. The damsels imitated the characteristic movements of the Lord after his disappearance from the rasa dance, right? Just imagine what Bhishma is speaking. Lord, Bhishma is speaking all this at what point? Few seconds before he leaves his body, he's telling about how Lord Krishna left the arena of rasa dance and how the gopis were discussing about his leelas, waiting for him. All that is discussing on the battlefield, with in so much pain. At Ratsur Yajna, the sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira, there was the greatest assembly of all the elite men of the world, the royal and the learned orders. And in that great assembly, Lord Sri Krishna was worshipped by one and all as the most exalted personality of Godhead. This happened during my presence, and I remembered the incident in order to keep my mind upon the Lord. Right? He's remembering all those favorite moments in his life. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon the one Lord Sri Krishna, now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. Sutta Goswami said, thus Bhishma Dev merged himself into the super soul, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with his mind, speech, sight, and actions, and thus he became silent with his breath, and his breathing stopped. Right? Sutta Goswami is saying this is the last prayer that he told, and his breathing stopped. Knowing that Bhishma Deva is merged into the unlimited eternity of the Supreme Absolute, all present there became silent like birds at the end of the day. Thereafter, both men and demigods sounded drums of in honor, and the honest royal order commenced demonstrations of honor and respect, and from the sky fell showers of flowers. O descendant of Brigu, Shaunaka, after performing funeral rites for the dead body of Bhishma Deva, Maharaj Yudhishthira was momentarily overtaken with grief. All the great sages then glorified Lord Sri Krishna, who was present there by confidential Vedic hymns. Then all of them returned to the respective hermitages, bearing always Lord Krishna in their hearts. Right? After seeing that incident, everybody kept Lord Krishna in their hearts, because that is how Bhishma left his body. Thereafter, Maharaj Yudhishthira at once went to his capital, Hastinapura, accompanied by Lord Sri Krishna, and there he consoled his uncle and aunt Gandhari, who was an ascetic. After this, the great religious king, Maharaj Yudhishthira, executed the royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes of royal principles approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna. The most important, approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna. Then only he took the throne. Right? Hare Krishna. So thus ends the chapter, and purports of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada on the disappearance of Srila Vyasadeva. So, Prabhupada and Mataji's, this is a very, very important chapter, as I told in the beginning, because now we also have to prepare for that moment, and we should remember how Bhishma, great Bhishma Dev, what was Bhishma Dev's other name that his parents gave him? Devvrat, right? Devvrat Bhishma. So he left his body, and how he meditated. Now, what we are going to meditate? Of course, we did not see Lord Krishna directly, but we saw him in our life by the mercy of devotees and our gurus. We have seen him in so many temples. We have seen him in the form of holy name. We have seen him in the form of bhajans, right? And we have seen him in the form of love of devotees. The love that we get from devotees is nothing but Lord Krishna himself. We have to see Lord Krishna's presence in that. So at the end of our life, in that last moment, we should remember all these exchanges of love between devotees, exchanges of service in the temples, exchanges of instances of we serving along with devotees, festivals, right? How much we were preparing ourselves to go back to Krishna. We should remember this morning Bhagavatam classes, that so many nice, souls in our satsang, Shri Giriraj Prabhu, Subbarao Prabhu, Mahesh Prabhu, right? So many other Prabhus have been reading it again and again every week. Praveen Prabhu, right? All of them have been reading Akinchan Priya Prabhu. We should remember all this. I'm telling you, this is what we should remember. We should remember all the devotees. We should remember all about Krishna. We should remember the best classes that we have attended. We should remember those special moments in Krishna consciousness, which really affected us. We should remember the mistakes that we all have committed. We should remember the regret that we carried. We should remember the mercy of Krishna that came upon us. And we should remember how merciful devotees are. We should remember how beautiful the deities are. We should remember that temple of Krishna, which you first visited in this body. We should remember the last temple that you saw Krishna. We should remember the great festivals, festival of inspiration, festival of colors, festival of kirtan melas that you have attended. We should remember the great Janmastamis that you have attended. We should remember the dramas that we have done together. We should remember the dramas that we have seen people doing, devotees doing. We should remember the New Year evening when we all performed drama last year, remember? We should remember everything that has happened in our life in relation to Lord Shri Krishna. And we should close our eyes. We should breathe our last breath. Hare Krishna. So any questions, reflections, thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam.
Dandavad Pranam.
Yeah, one question, Prabhu. It's like when Yudhishthira is taking that gambling with Kauravas, okay, there was a point which is being raised, okay, the Bhishma Dev and a few others said, do not go for that game. Okay, at the same time, from his uncle, so go for the game. There is instruction. Okay, because he wants to follow that instruction, but there are both the sides. There are the instruction saying that one side, okay, he's invited for a game, and the other side, like Bhishma Dev, who is grandfather himself, is saying that, okay, don't take this particular. Then why he has chosen this particular option? Because instruction is there for him as well, from his grandfather as well, and at the same time, he knows that like from Krishna saying that like he wants to take whatever he's been asked to do. Okay, that oath is also there in Rajasuyaka. So how do we understand that, Prabhuji?
Yeah, number one, the great souls like Yudhishthir Maharaj, we cannot understand them. That we should understand that we cannot understand them because they are Dharmaraj himself, right? And one of the ways to understand this is he actually already told that he's going to play. So he's already given the commitment that he's going to play. And once a king says that he's going to do it, he'll do it. People can come and advise that no, you should not do it, but he has already told. Right? So it can be elders' advice also later on. But because he has told he's going to do it, he did it.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhakar Prabhu.
So actually very touching session, Prabhuji. But one question I have is I read somewhere that Pandavas has to go through this. They did not remember Krishna till the things become worse when they were doing the gambling. So they have to go to all the sufferings. So is that correct, Prabhuji?
No, that's not true. That's not true. Pandavas are pure devotees, eternal associates of the Supreme Lord. They did everything remembering Krishna. Everything. Including going to the gambling match. They remembered Krishna and went. And whatever they went through, they remembered Krishna and accepted. In fact, even in the last minute when they had to reclaim their kingdom back, they sent Krishna to negotiate, saying, Krishna, whatever you accept, we have taken vows to kill these people, but if you go and negotiate saying we cannot kill them, we cannot fulfill our vows, that is also acceptable to us.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have
Hare Krishna.
You said that Yudhishthir Maharaj was accepting the gambling match because he knows the plan of Krishna. But there were other devotees also around him, like Vidura. I think even Bhishma Devi was also a great devotee and Mahajan. So how they were just guiding Yudhishthir Maharaj, why you are accepting for this gambling marriage? So how one of the devotees could understand the intentions of the Lord, and how the great other devotees could not understand? How can we understand this?
Yeah, Broji. So that's what. So the thing is that right after Vyasdev spoke to Yudhishthir Maharaj that you are going to be used as an instrument, and he felt that he is going to be responsible for that, for the killing of unlimited number of people. Immediately understood that Lord Krishna has a big plan with me, and immediately took a vow that will facilitate that plan to happen fast. Right? So he took a vow that whatever my elders will tell, I'm going to listen now. Whatever instruction that will come from the top, I'm going to listen now. He didn't say whatever anybody says. He said, whatever my elders will say, I'm going to listen now. And as soon as he took that vow, it's a very dangerous vow, very dangerous vow. And he was right to take the danger because he knew that by doing so, he will not become an obstacle in Lord Krishna implementing his plan. And as soon as the instruction came that do the gambling, he immediately accepted it. And after he accepted it, he had to go with it because he accepted it. Now, king, see, until he accepts it, he can take advice. But once he has accepted it, the advice can only be for the after effects of the advice, after effects of what he's going to do. But he has accepted it that, yes, I'm coming. I'm going to play the gambling match now. After that, Vidura came. After that, Bhishma told, hey, what are you doing? You're going to do something which is going to create destruction. Then he said, no, I already accepted. I cannot go against the vow of my elders.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And Akbar, you should also understand that this cannot be done, Prabhuji, by any ordinary person. Whatever Yudhishthir Maharaj did cannot be dare to be done by anybody. Anybody that we can know and think of in our life. So actually, sometimes we cannot understand fully unless we hear from Acharyas the heart of a devotee, right? Like including Bhishma, right? I mean, he knew that he's going to be killed before the war, isn't it?
Yes.
right? And how many people advised him? Lord Krishna also advised him, saying, why are you fighting on the side of Pandava, on the side of Kauravas? Drona told him, I have an obligation. You don't have any obligation. You are, you are saying that you want to protect your kingdom. So why don't you just protect it by protecting Pandavas? Why do you have to do your war? But still he said, no, I'm going to do it because I already made a vow that I'm going to see my father in every king who is going to sit on the throne. And my father has told me to do the war on behalf of Kauravas, and I'm doing it. So these great souls, even though what they are doing is wrong, they keep Krishna in the confidence and they do it. Knowingly that it might be wrong externally, but internally it's the sweet will of Krishna. That's the reason they do it. They don't do anything wrong that comes on their way. When they see the sweet will of Krishna in it, they say, okay, they accept it. And we also in our life, Prabhuji, it's very heavy statement to say, though it's very difficult to practice what I preach. The truth remains that there is nothing inauspicious that will happen in our life. Right? Just like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered Shiva's Angan and Shiva's Thakur's son passed away, he did not see any inauspicious in that. He is like, let him pass away, don't stop the kirtan. Let Mahaprabhu not know. How many of us can do that? We can't even imagine, right? Our children are not feeling well, we stop going to satsang. Our relatives have come home, we stop going to satsang. Our office, some new meeting is kept on a Sunday, satsang cancelled, right? For so many chota reasons where we have a choice of changing, we stop going to satsang. Satsang is why is so important, because that is where we associate with Krishna, right? For little things we are ready to keep Krishna as a second priority. What to speak of Srivas Thakur or Bhishma or Yudhishthira, who kept Krishna as the first priority, knowingly that they're going to be distracted. Knowingly that his son is on the, son has died. He needs last rites. That also he ignored. So can we understand what Srivas Thakur is doing? We cannot understand. We can never understand. But we can see that and appreciate the greatness of devotees. So some things that Maharaj Yudhishthira did is very difficult for us to understand. Even if we try to understand, we can't, because we are limited with our perceptions and our what do you say? Priorities, right? Our priorities are perceptions, our what is important for us in our life. What is important for me in my life right now? Is Krishna is the most important thing? Maybe not. I'm preaching. I'm repeating what is there in Bhagavatam. But someday it should sink in, right? I mean, today morning we are meditating on Bhishma Deva's prayers that when I leave my body, I should also have similar prayers of remembering how Akinchan Prabhu invited Jagannath deities in his colony, calling the whole colony. I should remember that. That I should remember that evening. I should remember the kirtan that evening. That is what I should remember, right? At the time of death. Then there is a hope. I don't know. I don't have the perfect answer for that. Maybe you should ask somebody like Govind Prabhu or Gaurang Prabhu. They're experts in Mahabharata.
No problem. That's good. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts, or we'll wrap up? This is a working day. Working day, and this we have to go, right? Any reflections? Are you all prepared? It's already 8:54. I told in the beginning we'll die at 8:30. 24 minutes extra we got.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you gave a very profound
I didn't give anything.
Session.
By the way, I'm missing you and Akinchan Prabhu in our Sunday satsangs.
Yes, Prabhuji. I was in Chennai, so I couldn't attend. This week I'll be there.
No, I'm missing. I didn't say that you have to be there, but I'm missing you.
We'll come from this week, Prabhuji. I had some marriage.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
I had to attend this week. Yeah. So.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I was telling you gave a very profound and thought-provoking session today. And I was thinking if I had to die at 8:30, maybe I'll think of my term insurance certificate. Where will it? And I'll.
No, you are kidding. You're not like that. I know you're not like that.
So Prabhuji, when I'm fit, at least at this stage, still I cannot think of Krishna. How is it at the time of death with all the pain? Will we be able to think about Krishna, or is it purely by the mercy of Vaishnavas, Guru and Krishna?
Krishna says that I will remember even if my devotee forgets me. So don't worry. Krishna remembers everything that you have done, Malingamayar Prabhu. Every little thing you have done, Krishna remembers. So that is the hope. That is the hope. See, chanting is, we should chant before we die. That is there. A lot of people, Acharyas explain that we should chant on our deathbed, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We should chant on our deathbed. That is very important. But how many of us can chant on the deathbed? Death can come anytime, right? What is it? Kulashekar Alvar's prayer? Famous prayer that Prabhupada quotes many times. Huh?
Of pith will be formed in my.
How does it start? Come on, the first word. Kulashekar Alvar's prayer. Hare Krishna. Huh?
Purnamala.
Purnamala Sutra. Come on, how can I forget this? Such a beautiful prayer. Krishnatwadiya pada pankaja panjarantam advaiva me visatu rajahamsa prana prayana samaye kapavata pitto kantha avardhana vidhau smaranam kutaste. Right? He's saying, I cannot even remember you. So much pain in my bile, so much pain in my throat. How Krishna, take me now. I'm absolutely in a fine condition. At that time, I cannot remember you. So the point is, at the time of death, it's not about just chanting the name of God. What matters more is your attitude of chanting throughout your life. What was my attitude of chanting throughout my life is more important than you chanting in your last breath. Because your attitude of chanting throughout your life will bring Krishna to you at the time of death, because he remembers that how nicely this devotee has chanted. What do I mean by attitude? Helpless cry that Krishna, my mind is not cooperating, my intelligence is not cooperating, my habits are not cooperating, my modes are not cooperating, my priorities are not cooperating. Nothing is cooperating, Krishna. I'm struggling to chant even one mantra properly, Krishna. I want to chant your name. Please help me. You are the only way I can. You are the only hope. And I'm very grateful to the great Panchatattva who have given this mantra to me, my guru who has given this mantra to me, the parampara who accepted me, but still I have no attraction for chanting, what they have asked me to do. The only guru's instruction that I have is to chant properly. That also I'm not able to do. So please help me with a regret, with pit, what do you call that? Not self-pity, but with pain, sincere guilt when we chant. We end our life with that guilt. Balgwan Prabhu once beautifully told, it's better to die with guilt that we have not achieved anything in Krishna consciousness than with even one pridely attachment that I have done something to Krishna. It's better to die with the guilt. Right? So then Krishna will come and take care at the end of. Don't worry about that. Our attitude of chanting is more important than whether we are chanting at the last minute or not. And
so you have to struggle every day.
Huh?
We have to struggle every day.
Yes. Yes. It's a struggle every day. No doubt. It is for me, it's a struggle every day. That I can tell you. At least for me, I know it's a struggle every day. Yeah. So anybody else wants to add anything? Krishna, Loesh Prabhu, Praveen Prabhu, Giraj Prabhu, you want to add anything? Any reflection?
ఒకటే స్టేట్మెంట్ ఉంది కదా, ఆల్వేస్ రిమెంబర్ కృష్ణ నెవర్ ఫర్గెట్స్ హిమ్.
Hari bol. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Yes, thank you, Giraj. So thank you very much. So always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Hari bol. Dandavat pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. श्रील गुरुदेव की जय. निताई गौर हरि प्रेमानंदे. हरि हरि बोल.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.